women, by and large, are significantly inferior to men at firefighting. Wah! Smell. I see tear that moist and muddy. I know this is pretty radical thing to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. Fembots can essentially kiss my ass. If you don't like it, Tumblr is that way. Oh, hi there. Welcome to the Freedom Alternative. And here we are, at the point where there are calls from the so-called free world for the removal of historical art because it no longer conforms to the political sensibilities of the current establishment. This was something fairly back in the days of the Soviet Union, which, by the way, was the inspiration for Orwell's 1984, where information contradicting the current party line was thrown down the memory hole. And apparently the US should go down the same road, at least according to Lou Lumenick, who says in a column for the NY Post that Gone with the Wind should go the way of the Confederate flag. Also notice in the corner that the Read Next proposed article is called "Is the New Spider-Man the Wrong Race?" because apparently a white Spider-Man is now unacceptable. What the heck? Anyway, so the article goes like this. I'm gonna read only selective excerpts because the article is really long. Quote, "If the Confederate flag is finally going to be consigned to museums as an ugly symbol of racism, what about the beloved film offering the most iconic glimpse of that flag in American culture? I'm talking, of course, about Gone with the Wind, which won a then record 8 Academy Awards, including Best Picture of 1939, and still ranks as the all-time North American box office champ with a $1.6 billion worth of tickets sold here when adjusted for inflation. True, Gone with the Wind isn't as blatantly and virulently racist as D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, which was considered one of the greatest American movies as late as the early 1960s, but is now rarely screened, even in museums. The more subtle racism of Gone with the Wind is in some ways more insidious, going to great lengths to enshrine the myth that the Civil War wasn't fought over slavery, an institution the film unabashedly romanticizes. Based on a bestseller by die-hard Southerner Margaret Mitchell, Gone with the Wind buys heavily into the idea that the Civil War was a noble lost cause and casts Yankees and Yankee sympathizers as the villains, both during the war and during Reconstruction. Producer David O. Selznick, a liberal Jew, did temper Mitchell's vision somewhat, banning the N-word but allowing a lot of references to darkies. Well, of course, there had to be a liberal Jew somewhere in the mix. Now, in all seriousness, it's a 76-year-old movie. Of course it's going to reflect more of the cultural memes of its time than the modern ones. Jesus Christ. Anyway, back to the article. Warner Bros., which has owned Gone with the Wind since 1996, resisted any analysis of the film's problematic racial politics until a 26-minute featurette was included with last year's Blu-ray set. We now know better, even if there are many other great things about Gone with the Wind, among them its sweep, its gorgeous Technicolor photography, and its unforgettable performances by Vivien Leigh, Clark Gable, and the film's emotional center, Hattie McDaniel, the first black performer to win an Oscar as the subversive Mammy. But what does it say about us as a nation if we continue to embrace a movie that, in the final analysis, stands for many of the same things that the Confederate flag flutters so dramatically over the dead and wounded soldiers at the Atlanta train station just before the Gone with the Wind intermission? And the article goes on like this for 2 more paragraphs, but we get the gist. So it thus begins. We already have the censoring of stuff on the internet, the banning of materials deemed not appropriate in various universities, the forgetting of the past, the full monitoring of everything, people being doxxed and their lives ruined over thought crimes, and now censoring old pieces of art because they don't reflect the current progressive consensus. Way to go! And the sad part in this is that it is not the first time when this happens. 4 years ago, some publishing houses decided to tamper with Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn because it contained the word nigger too many times. At that point, even the ultra-PC sensitive far-left Guardian stood up against it. But that was 4 years ago. Now we have supposedly right-leaning venues printing garbage that I would expect to read on the fucking Guardian. Just recently, Apple removed several games with historical theme because they contained the Confederate flag. No, seriously, they did that. But why? Why this sudden urge to edit the history? And where does it even stop? Should we ban the newspapers from 1930s Europe because some of them have shown pictures of various nation leaders in meetings with Adolf Hitler? Or maybe we should ban all the footage from the 1936 Olympics because they took place in the Third Reich, and the Third Reich is no longer politically fashionable today and it's offensive. Oh wait, that's already in the making. You can't actually watch footage from the 1936 Olympics without first seeing this. And that's for now. I can totally see a moment when the footage itself will become verboten. Now look, I'm all for discussing any nation's past horrors and mistakes precisely because those who don't know their history are doomed to repeat it, really. But these latest moves are exactly the opposite of that. The latest moves are rather in the direction of fostering the forgetting of history for the sake of protecting some imaginary sensibilities. There is more value in reviewing old content and identifying the madness in them, when that's the case, of course, than in outright censoring it or altering it to fit the modern times. It is, at least in my view, much more to be gained from having such content as a cautionary tale than it is to be gained from controlling everything for the sake of avoiding being transgressive to certain sensibilities. Now, personally, I say the hell with sensibilities. No, seriously. At the end of the day, no one forces you to watch Gone with the Wind or to play video games that have a Confederate flag in them. Seriously, why can't more people just, I don't know, mind their own business? I know it's radical, but consider it. And with that being said, don't forget to click the subscribe button and consider supporting this channel. Thanks for watching.